This thing costs $50. 50, and it plays Game Boy, Game Boy Color, GBA, Nintendo, you name it. As long as it's under the PS1, you can play it. I've had it for about 6 months. My dad's played Final Fantasy VII on it, on plane rides, car rides, train rides, and he said this is by far the easiest way he's ever been able to play that RPG. That's not even a tech reviewer talking. That's just a guy who wants to play a classic game on a small console wherever he wants to go. And this simple $50 device gave him access to do that thing. This is my honest review on the Miyoo Mini. Here's my first impressions of this device. Number one, this thing is pretty small. Here's comparison to my hand. It fits perfectly in my hand. It's almost like a little mini phone. It's pretty small, but really the first thing I noticed when I unboxed this device was just how smooth this UI is. I'm going to kind of give you guys an overhead shot of what I'm seeing here. Here is what I see when I see the Miyoo Mini. The first thing I noticed when I turned this on was how clean the UI is. It runs OnionOS, and the interface is just genuinely sleek. Along the top of the system, you have the SD card, which essentially is just all of the games I have preloaded so far. So far, I wanted to keep it kind of sleek. I played my PS1 shares on my ANYN Thor, so I just kept Game Boy, Game Boy Advanced, Game Boy Color, and NES on this console, which in my opinion feels like the perfect way to view this. Whatever you put on there, each one with its own icon, in terms of the consoles, it will actually fill that out for you when you add this onto your SD card. It almost feels like a console menu and not really like a phone app. And it's not even like a janky emulator either. All of these are using RetroArch. And with this console kind of like menu, it actually makes this $50 handheld just really good. I mean, it's simple. People understand what we're looking at. That's exactly how you make a UI. And in my opinion, the settings kind of go deep enough to kind of show you and make you feel like this is a very custom device. As you can see, you have shutdown, which, I mean, that's if you wanted to turn off your console. We have brightness settings, which goes up pretty bright. It's kind of hard to see it on camera, but you can kind of compare to my keyboard in the background. That's pretty light right now. This UI, this display screen is pretty bright for 1010. We have Wi-Fi options, so if you just want to directly put things onto the SD card over Wi-Fi, you can actually do that on this Miyoo Mini. Here's the Wi-Fi icon. This actually allows you to put games over Wi-Fi on the Miyoo Mini to its SD card, which is amazing. The display, you actually can tweak the display settings to actually make a better looking color profile that you would like. You can change languages if, you know, whatever the case. Menu sound is how loud the clicks are. Sleep timer, after 15 minutes, you know it can obviously go to sleep. You can look at about the device, which if we look in here, we see the model and all of this fun stuff, which is pretty impressive. Another thing I want to mention on the Miyoo Mini is the app settings. Quick guide, package manager, where you can install custom apps on this thing, which is pretty cool. I can't back out of it now, but you can install different packages and even firmware for the console that you're wanting to play. Activity tracker to see how much time you've put in. RetroArch, which just allows you to look at a little bit more of the settings for your individual games, which, I mean, that's just so cool. Let's put it here. You can search your game library, and then you can even have themes on this thing. I mean, how cool is that this little device with very limited settings and stuff for what it is has a whole freaking theme menu. I'm on the default, but I mean, there's 25 themes. You can even have like this little PlayStation kind of look, which, gosh, I might even have to swap to that right now. But yeah, that is like the package app area, which is just super cool. There's also tweaks, advanced menu, battery monitor, a clock, file explorer, the game switcher thing, which is kind of this middle button up here, and the form factor of this thing. If you guys ever grew up with a Game Boy, this really feels like what would happen if we put a Game Boy into 2026, and what would it look like as a normal consumer. I mean, I don't have a Game Boy for comparison, but I've had one in the past, and this thing is a little bit thicker in terms of width compared to a Game Boy, in my opinion. Don't know if that's actually true, but the length is definitely smaller, and obviously everything else about it is just better. I mean, we're emulating, we're not on original hardware, but if you guys watch my ANY Thor video, you guys already know my take on that, is that I know emulation isn't exactly hardware based, but man, you can only go so far with technology before it starts to fade away. In my opinion, I would rather have a way better display that looks way better on my games than I would rather have original hardware and, you know, I lose out on the nice display and the great sound card in this thing and the potential to play like another 7 consoles. I don't have a capture card, but gosh, I mean, that is just great looking. I mean, there's no way, in my personal opinion, that I would ever choose original hardware that wasn't modded compared to this. I mean, it looks so vibrant. The color is like perfect on this screen. It's really nice. This is just an IPS display. It's not even an OLED. And man, like, for travel, you feel almost spoiled playing something like this. You know, like, it is just so nice to look at all times. I think like the craziest thing about this console specifically in the mini version is that this is literally like a little phone. This goes straight into your pocket if you want it to. You could be walking around New York City with this thing just in your pocket ready to go if you're waiting on something. Like that is what we need in terms of emulation devices. We need something small enough to be able to move on the go. And this is one of the first real options that I'm like, it's not too small, it's not too big, it's perfect enough, and all of the specs in it are just enough, just perfect enough to be able to play what I want on this thing. So back on the screen, we'll go through this section by section here. This section is really just about the screen, and again, you guys know I love this screen so far. The IPS color profile and what I have set up looks just phenomenal. Let me pull up a Game Boy Advance game here so I can show you guys. Here is Pokemon Fire Red on this thing. Just a little bit. There we go. This is Pokemon Fire Red on this thing. This looks phenomenal. And I mean, how could you want to play anything else off of a different form factor than what we're having right here? It is so nice. I've beat Fire Red so many times, not on this thing, but on my PS Vita alone, that the second I want to replace this thing, the second I want to replay this game, I mean, I'm just ready to do it because the game just looks crazy good on this IPS screen. And the colors, I mean, like, just, yeah, you guys get the point. Another con I want to say about this screen, it's just, I know we're on the mini version, but gosh, it is just so small. It is just so small. It is just so small. I mean, you know, it is a tiny thing, but I'm griping that really with the intent that I just want a bigger screen, although I bought the mini version. So that is just really my preference, is that it's a little bit bigger of a screen would have been nice. If you just want to buy the Miyoo normal console, not mini, the screen is perfectly fine, I'm sure. So, but the mini version, I do wish the screen was a tad bit bigger, but gosh, it really seals the deal as a mini screen. So here's what it can actually play and up to. So again, like I mentioned to you, the consoles that it could play, it cannot go past the PS1. So anything in N64 and up, it's a no-go. Again, we should expect that off of something this tiny, although, again, I'm saying it this tiny, this is $50. That's why it can't play those games. I mean, PS1, you're already reaching, and it runs a PS1 smoothly. Here's some gameplay footage of what the PS1 actually looks like. But this thing runs perfectly fine for a $50 emulation device. Here's my thing. I'm a Pokemon fan, so anything on the Game Boy Advance Color, you know, original Game Boy, those games are going to work perfect. I mean, those have been for the past 10 to 15 years on emulation consoles. So this isn't a big shocker that the console can run Game Boy Advance Color and Game Boy games perfectly fine. But let me tell you, from a standpoint of a Pokemon fan that absolutely loves just being able to play on a Game Boy, to play all of those titles with whatever I want, those are great. Another thing for the Pokemon fans out there that we got to think about are the ROM hacks for this game, for this console. Like, this can run all of the ROM hacks that you've been wanting to play. So think about that as well when you're thinking about buying this thing for $50, that you can play all of the ROM hacks that you would have to play on your computer, or you would have to do this crazy jailbreaking scheme on like a PS Vita or something along those lines, or even like an original Game Boy. Like, you can't do those things. You can finally play ROM hacks no problem on a device that looks like the original device, okay? Tekken works, Spyro works. Again, this isn't just like a Game Boy based thing. It can go all the way up to PS1, which those games from the PS1 look phenomenal as well. So let's talk about the build quality of the Miyoo Mini here. So as you guys can see here, we have 4 back pedals, 2 at the top right here, and 2 right here. They're kind of clicky, and honestly, they're kind of cheap. So like this one as an example, you guys can't really see it that well, but this is just kind of loose here, and I think this one is as well. That's just from wear of playing it, but the clicking still works fine. They're just cheap buttons. I mean, again, think about we got to keep in mind of the price point the entire time we're talking about this video, $50. I'm expecting this. I'm expecting a cheaper build quality in terms of better hardware and a better screen. Front facing, we have 4 buttons down here that kind of have that Nintendo kind of look to them, the yellow, green, blue, and red, along with our arrow keys here with the menu button. So if I turn that on, you know, you'll see the menu button. And here's kind of a cool thing is when you hit the menu button, it kind of almost puts it in this game switcher mode where you can just swap to your next console or your next game just right here from this menu. And then we have our select start buttons down here as well. Select start, and then on the side we have our volume button here. It's kind of hard to see it, but there it is right there. And then along the top we have our power button. Along the bottom, here's my favorite part as like a real tech nerd. It has USB-C. We have made it again to the USB-C talk. Amazing, and it can charge super fast. We have our SD card here. This storage that comes with my device personally, I'm not sure if they changed it, is about 64 gigabyte SD card. Again, on these consoles, you're basically getting every single game in the entire universe with 64 gigabytes with how big these games were back in the day. And then we have a headphone jack. I don't really care too much for this, obviously, but if you really want to have that retro moment, there you go with that headphone jack. For PS1 games, that's where these back buttons are really used. And I mean, again, out of the entire form factor, out of every single button, everything, the back buttons are the most lacking, no doubt. These things just aren't that great. There's not really much better you can do with this $50 price point and this form factor in terms of where the buttons go. But I'm sure if they were able to just put a little bit more money, or this was maybe a $60, $70 console, I mean, these buttons would probably be flawless. But really, I'm only noticing how bad of a problem that is with the PS1 games, the clankiness, and it just doesn't really feel that good. So another thing that I like to notice on this console is that they have so many different case color swap ups. My transparent, God, I just love it so much. I mean, there is maybe another one that I would have got maybe instead, but this transparent look of, hey, now I'm able to see what's inside of the console while I'm playing it is just like, it makes you really feel like this is a custom device that you paid for. So who is this actually even for? Is it for the dads that haven't played like a PS1 since they were in their 20s? Is it for a 20-year-old that wants to play the Game Boy games that he never was able to play? Is it for people that just want to relive the old console and be able to emulate games back on this device? It's for every single person that I mentioned. This is a device that is $50 that I feel like everyone really should have if they are into those retro games. If you grew up on the Game Boy, if you grew up on the PS1, any of those consoles prior to that, I mean, you should already have this thing. Like, I feel I feel like this console really is something that for $50, every person should have if they're into these type of consoles. The Game Boy Color, Advance, PS1, NES, SNES. I mean, like, if you've wanted to play something in your pocket, no doubt this is the one. $50? Are we serious? I can't talk about how ethical you'll be if you are ROMing what you actually own. That's not my take. $50, I feel like this is for every single person that played games on those hardware and that wants to ROM and play their original Pokemons, Fire Reds, ROM hacks, whatever other game you play on the Game Boy Advance, Color, NES, SNES, PS1. I did play Tekken a lot on this. I believe it was Tekken 5. I could be wrong, but that game ran smooth. And here's some gameplay of my Tekken 5 footage. This looks just stupid on this little console. I don't understand how you can have so much power in something this small at this price point. If you want anything above a PS1, though, you can't do that. You can't do it on this console. I can't reference something that is in this price range that goes above the PS1. So if you're looking for PS1 and above, this is not the one. This can't even do N64. So yeah, do not get this Miyoo Mini console if you were wanting PS1 and above. But if you fit the first categories that I mentioned about being a dad and you want to play this, being a 20-year-old that just, I don't know, man, just wanted to play something on a Game Boy, or someone that just wanted to relive these games on something with better hardware and a better screen, do this. Do the Miyoo Mini Plus. I haven't found anything close at this price point in 6 months of using it. I haven't found anything at this price range that is this good in the 6 months I've used it. I actually checked back on even AliExpress to see what kind of consoles they had for another review. And this console was sitting at the very top for the $50 price range. This thing is actually insane that it's still sitting up there 6, 8, 12 months later whenever this thing came out. Here's my conclusion. 6 months, $50, Game Boy to PS1. This is by far the best bang for your buck mini console that you can have. The screen, it's small on the mini. The back buttons are kind of cheap and really bad in certain occasions, but you gotta remember what we're working with. And it won't run anything above the PS1, which I know for a lot of people, genuinely, that is a breaker. Like, you would think certain chipsets at this point would be cheap enough maybe to put in these devices that would be a little bit more powerful, but that's just not where we're at right now. But my dad played Final Fantasy VII all the way through a trip, and absolutely loved the experience so much, mind you, that he actually bought one for himself. I played through Fire Red on many consoles, and I'm literally just now reliving and starting my playthrough again back through Fire Red on this one. And it's been in my pocket consistently for the past 6 months. I took my Thor to New York City. If you guys haven't seen that video, check that video out. I took my Thor to New York City, and I love my Thor. Absolutely love it. It can play literally up to Switch games, which is insanity. But I did also pay $500 to $600 for my Thor, and it's again like a DS format or a 3DS format and chunkier. So that would have to fit in my fanny pack. That can't fit in my pocket. But I have been playing with this console in my pocket, just going around. This is in my car, this is in my pocket, this is in my fanny pack, backpack, you name it, it's with me, and I play it all the time. And at $50, there's nothing else I could recommend that even touches this thing. Like, it's just so perfect for what it is. $50, Game Boy to PS1. I mean, just